Nice to see you again, Frédéric, here in the cellar of the Château de Bourgogne, just right, in the middle, I will say, of the Pouilly-Fuissé appellation. If I understand, you have lots of different geological conditions, but also microclimatic condition. And
yes.
that is reflecting into the wine?
Yes, of course, because we have from Chantrey, which is the east part of the appellation, just looking upon the river, la Saône, and up to Vergisson, which is the extreme west part, which is cooler in the climate and the weather. Of course, in between the two villages, you have Fuissé and Solutré-Pouilly, and we have maybe something like 1 week difference on the date of harvesting, which is something unbelievable in such a small appellation.
You would believe that everybody will harvest the same day, but
Absolutely.
it's not the case.
No, it's not the case.
Ah, okay.
Not the case.
So you think that in the wine you will be able to taste the differences?
Yeah, through the vintages, through the kinds of vintages, through the different expression of each climat, depending of the soils and exposure and everything, links to the terroir, in fact. Of course we can find all these expressions. I hope we will find that in through the tasting.
Oh, okay. So then we should try to discover that.
So we can start with 2013, which is the youngest we have bottled just a few weeks ago, Jean-Pierre. So it's going to be a young expression of Chardonnay.
The nose is very pleasant. You know, it shows lots of fruit and ripe fruit.
Very open. Very open.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's see.
You can find the white fruits, the peach, pear, white flower, which is usual in this young expression.
It shows a little bit of almond as well.
Yeah. It's a blend, of different parcels from the chateau.
Okay, so that's the classic image of
That's the
Pouilly-Fuissé.
classic image, the classic expression of Pouilly-Fuissé, because we are lucky enough to have vineyards in the three villages out of the 4 of the appellation. So it's why it's interesting to have this expression of Pouilly-Fuissé. I think it's quite typical in the Pouilly-Fuissé.
Anyway, it's a very pleasant wine.
Yeah. And then Jean-Pierre, the same one, almost the same blend, because we try to keep this regularity of the blends year after year. In 2012, Château de Bourgogne.
2012 is supposed to be an excellent vintage.
Yeah, it's a very, I would say, a classical vintage in Burgundy, because we have been able to, again, same styles than 13, late harvest, keeping the freshness, small crop.
Small crop.
We must keep in mind that
make the difference.
We had 2 in a row with a small crop.
Concentration.
It's why you have the concentration. But this one is 1 year older
as well.
in terms of bottling. So of course the expression is there. The first one was young. It was something like common as an expression of Chardonnay. Here you can really touch.
It's richer. Already.
Yeah, it's richer. It's richer. It's more the Pouilly-Fuissé style here that we touch.
That's right. That's very, very, very pleasant too. And the fruit is there, but not only the fruit.
Not only the fruit, something more complex, more toast bread,
toast bread is spice.
Yeah, and spicy. Yeah, absolutely.
And very, very interesting.
It's more complex on the nose. We feel more the aging part of the expression, which is probably linked to the expression of toast bread we have. But because again, as the crop was small, we have the percentage of oak aging was a bit higher than the usual vintage.
Yeah. It's very, very well integrated.
But it's well integrated, and it's good insurance for aging.
It's a little bit of vanilla, but not too much.
Not too much.
The fruit is there. It's not added.
Yeah.
So that's it's a very, very pleasant wine, and I know many consumers would be very happy to put that as an aperitif. But I'm sure the wine will age nicely. Yeah,
it can match with a lot of meal from our region. We will talk later on about the matching with food, the top climat. But this one can really match with with nice chicken, nice veal, and nice fish, and really good match. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long you think the potential of aging?
We just start the nicest part of the expression, but it will last like this minimum of 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
No problem. It's very stable now. So Jean-Pierre, now what I propose is to taste some of the climat of the estate, and the first one will be Vigne Blanche 2010.
Vigne Blanche is one of the very, very top class climat, we said, in Pouilly-Fuissé, is it?
Yes, it's one of the most reputed. It's located in Fuissé, on a beautiful slope looking upon Fuissé, facing east and rising sun, and a very nice kind of soils with marls just below.
So I heard the people of Pouilly-Fuissé are asking classification of some climat in Premier Cru.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us just
a few words about that? We started 4 years ago to try to classify our best climat as Premier Cru. Our wish is to join the rest of Bourgogne to get the official classification and recognition of our best climat as Premier Cru.
So the next 3-4 years?
We hope so. We hope so to get the recognition of Premier Cru in why not 2017 or 18.
Okay, let's hope so. Anyway, let's taste this Vigne Blanche.
Vigne Blanche 2010.
2010. Great vintage 2010.
Great vintage. A late one, so very interesting for whites. You can find that on the smell first.
Yeah. So what is the characteristic of Vigne Blanche?
It's always very seductive because you have this first part of the soil that are, clay, light clay, or stony light clay, and the marls are just below, so you have a lot of elegance in Vigne Blanche.
So that is the main characteristic.
That's the main characteristic, it's a seduction. Always very seductive, but when it ages, it can age extremely well as well.
It's very expressive and it's very, very pleasant, and yeah.
It's more yellow fruit, it's more mature fruit. But 2010 is really a vintage with this balance between maturity, ripeness, and acidity.
It shows also a little bit more complexity.
Yeah, of course.
A little sign of evolution, but a nice evolution already.
We start this evolution. We start the what we call the tertiary aromas of the wines, but it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning of it.
And we start at 2010. It will last a long time.
Okay,
for sure.
Mouth is very impressive as well.
Yeah, a lot of tension.
Yeah,
good vibration of the wines. We feel the potential of aging here.
It's a nice length. Too.
Yeah, very a lot of lemon and grapefruit expression. Long and salty. We find the salty expression, and we have both influence of the terroir itself of Vigne Blanche and the vintage.
Both together.
We have this
anyway, it seems
huge
to be
potential.
Great wine, and I'm sure the potential will be fantastic.
Yeah. For the next vineyard, we will go on the west side of the appellation, in a more cooler part.
So up to Vergisson.
Yeah, up to Vergisson, exactly.
So
just in between the two cliffs of Solutré and Vergisson, you have this beautiful parcel called La Maréchaude, and La Maréchaude is facing southwest. I would say, a very warm exposure in a cool place, in fact.
Yeah, that's quite. Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Because you have this temperature difference, which is very big here.
Would you say the minerality show better on this wine, or?
Yes, in fact, we have the balance in between the very warm exposure and the cooler place of the slope. And here, it's why you have, at the same time, you have the power of the wines and the maturity, and you will see a lot of elegance.
So I see the color is a very, very nice color with, dark gold color, very brilliant.
Yeah.
Which vintage is it?
It is a 2001.
2001.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you mean you can keep 13 years old
Yes,
Pouilly-Fuissé?
yes. On the top climat like La Marée Chaude or Les Vignes Blanches we had, we really can have a great potential.
I should admit it smells gorgeous.
Yeah. You will see the smell now are very tertiary. Huh? You can feel something different
already,
yeah.
and
Mushroom
very
and,
pleasant. The fruit's still there.
Yeah, the fruit is still there.
Like you said, maybe cooked fruit or
Marmalade.
Marmalade,
yeah.
like orange.
Yeah, orange. Yeah.
That's a very nice nose.
You can see how long it is and how powerful it is. It's 13 years old. So it's a proof that the best Pouilly-Fuissé can age a long time.
That's a fantastic one.
That's a very interesting one.
So
and we are not at the end of the life. It can last
no.
another few years,
Definitely. So how you will serve this wine? Because it's a great wine.
We can match that with the most, famous gastronomy of the region, which is the chicken, the breast chicken.
Oh, yeah.
And
creamy sauce and mushrooms. And
absolutely,
that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Or even veal.
I do agree. Yeah. What we call
all
white
the white meats are matching very well with that kind of wine. Absolutely.
But I'm very surprised because for a wine of this age, it's still so fresh.
Yeah, it's
and
still young.
So attractive.
Yeah. It's still young because it's coming from a great place, also a great terroir. The Marée Chaude is one of the very best of the appellation. But at the same time, it has been aged in this mind.
Mm-hmm.
We have made this wine in this goal to be able to age.
Oh,
Voilà. So it's a good. For us, it's a good proof.
No, that's a very, very, very good one. Excellent one.
And next one, if you like, it's something more special because it's coming from the private collection of my family.
Oh.
Was made by my grandfather.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the green bottle, which is very old style.
That's true.
Very handy. And it's a Pouilly-Fuissé Vert Gras.
Wow, look at the color.
1975.
75.
Yeah, 75.
75, but I thought 75 was not a very good vintage.
It was a very difficult vintage in terms of understanding, but because summer was very rainy.
Yeah.
But finally, for the whites, we had a result with patience, in fact, because the first 10 years were very difficult. My father always told me that we needed time to understand the 75. I was a bit suspicious at the beginning, but when we taste the wine 40 years after...
If I smell it, I said he was right.
It's very surprising. Vert Gras is the flagship of the Chateau Beauregard because it's at the terroir which is around the
just facing the solitary rock.
Yeah, facing the beautiful landscape on the cliffs.
Fantastic vineyard there. Yeah.
And you can see this very clear limestone at the Vert Gras stone here with a lot of fossils and very thin soils, in fact. Very, very thin. A few brown clay on the surface, but just below you have
lots of limestone.
Yeah, you have the real mother rock which is there, and only vines can grow in that kind of soils. In fact,
the color is absolutely beautiful. 40 years old wine.
Yes, that's a proof that top white Bourgogne can really age very well. In our mind in Burgundy, we have the same philosophy for the whites than for the reds. That's a typical way of thinking of the Bourgogne people, in fact. That's very important for us. And the whites have to be considered with the same potential, which is not usual,
No, it is, but it's what's fascinating is to see the smell. It's a gorgeous smell of tertiary aromas, like truffle, mushroom,
white mushrooms, truffles,
and dry fruits, but the mouth is still so fresh for one of this age. Anyway, thank you so much. That's a great wine.
You can see the evolution. You can even it's still able to age another a few years.
But that's a good example, to tell us that Pouilly-Fuissé can age, and I think it's very important for the consumer to understand that. And to not be too early, in hurry.
No rush. No rush to taste the greatest Pouilly-Fuissé.
Thank you so
We have
much.
time.
That's fabulous.
Merci Jean-Pierre.